An Excel window. On the top we have tabs: home tab, insert tab, page layout, formula. Under each tab we have different sections, for example clipboard, font, alignment, etc. At the bottom we have sheet names. You can add multiple sheets in a single workbook. To delete, right click and select the delete button. To rename a sheet, double click the name and type in the new name. On the right you have the scroll bars to navigate within a sheet. You can extend the scroll bar. On the top left you have a name box. It shows the name of a cell. The name of a cell comprises of the column, alphabet and row number. So for example, this cell is named C7 because it comes under column C and row 7. This right here is the formula bar. Whatever you type in here appears in the cell that you have selected, and whatever you type in the cell appears in the formula bar. You can select multiple cells, and to move them around, copy or cut them and paste them wherever you want to. You can use the font format options available here to format your font or align them as you wish. There are other cell format options available here under the cell section. You can always press Ctrl Z to undo all of the changes that you have made. Now we'll see how to move around in Excel. To do that, let's first create a sample table. I have created a heading serial number and item number, and I'm just randomly typing in any item numbers. I'm gonna go ahead and add some price to the items. One way to move around is to click using the mouse. The other way is given in the table provided in the lab manual. You can use the arrow keys to move around, and using the control key allows you more precise movement. So if you press control up or control down, you move to the first or the last cell with the data in it. So all the explanation of how to move quickly around the Excel is given in this manual or in this table. You can pause and see all the options you have. We'll move on to formulas. A formula must always have the equals to sign and must start with the equal to sign. We'll see how to use basic mathematical operations. Let's create a column amount and a column total. I will randomly give in the amount. In this case it's just from 1 to 7. For total, I'm going to type in equal to, select the price, multiply it by amount and press enter. So you see I'm not giving it some fixed numbers. Instead I'm giving the total column cell references. So I tell it to take the value in cell C3 and multiply it with the value in cell D3. So now if I change the value in this cell, you will notice that the amount total is updated automatically by Excel. See? So keep an eye on the total. When I press enter, the amount is updated. Let's move on to autofill. Then we will return to worksheet functions and cell range. Autofill is a unique feature of MS Excel, and it's one of the most powerful feature. You notice when you go to the right bottom corner of a cell and you move your mouse to the small square, the mouse pointer changes and you can drag to extend the formula to the whole column. So now you can see as I click each cell, the references are updated according to the rows. So let's see how worksheet function works. An easy way to get to worksheet function or to get the sum of all the total is to go to the formulas tab and click auto sum. It will automatically highlight a range of cells, but if you click the cell, you can manually type in the function as well using equal to sum. The auto drop box will show you the functions available with the same name. You can either click press tab and you can click the sum link to open a help.
Before you dive into the sum function, here's a handy way to get a quick look at the sum or the average of a range of cells. Select a range of cells. Then look at the bottom right-hand corner of the Excel window.
So you can go ahead and watch the full video for any function that you want.
This is called select a cell above or beneath the sum range.
So the sum function formula help shows that you can insert number 1, number 2 in the sum function. What this means that number 1 can be a range, or it can be range and cell references, or a combination of these two, and moreover it can directly contain values. So in the formula bar, notice that I'm typing in 10 and other values, and these all will be summed together. But the most common way to use is to give a single cell range. Similarly, you can use the average function. Make sure you have given it the correct range. So now it's clear that the cell range uses a colon and a reference of the starting cell and the closing cell. Now let's see what the dollar sign is used for. Noticed I have manually typed in the serial numbers, but we can use a formula to do so. So I'm gonna give it the cell reference and say I want to add 1 to it, and then I'm gonna autofill, and you will notice that autofill has updated the cell references accordingly. So when I click 4, it is referring to the cell A4 and the value in cell A4 is 3, so it's A3 plus 1 4. So you get the point, right? So let's see what happens if I insert a dollar before the 2. Now when I use the autocomplete, the cell references are not updated, they are fixed. So no matter what cell I move on to, A2 is fixed and it's always referring to the cell A2 where the value is 1. That's why all the values here have been calculated as 2. But what happens if I autofill horizontally? Okay, so let's see. So the 2 is fixed because I am moving in the same row, but you will notice that the column numbers are changing. So for this cell the column is D2, but now what if I put a dollar before the A as well? Let's see. Now when I do autofill horizontally, there is no change in the column reference, so the column is also now fixed. Autofill will not change the column reference. That's why we get the sum 2 every time. So we had seen how dollar sign and autofill works. So we have seen the sum and average statistical functions. We have a lot more. So here we have some financial functions that will be used in accountings, but we can always click the FX button and either search for the function here if you know the name, or you can go select a category, statistical, and find a function here. So we are looking for a median function. Here it is. We'll select and click OK. This window will give the explanation of what this function do, and if I'm giving it a range, and it finds a median in the range that I have selected. To use lookup function, we will use the same table, which is quite meaningless without the item name. The item names are stored in another table on a new sheet called item list. So what I want to know is that item number 12C3 is printer, and item 563G is a keyboard. But I don't want to do so manually. I want Excel to find it for me. So I will create a new column, label it name, use the FX button, select lookup and reference, and go to VLOOKUP. We don't want to use HLOOKUP because with our table, item list table is vertical. The lookup value is the value that you wish to find in the table. In our case, it's B2. The table array is the table in which you want to find the value, and it is our job to make sure that the first column is the one in which the values can be found. The column index number is the result column, and it is given as index number from the first column. And the range lookup value tells whether the Excel should return an approximate value or an exact value. So we'll use false because we want exact values, and I'll use an autofill option. But using autofill gives me some garbage values, and that is because I forgot to fix my table. So autofill has automatically changed the table reference. I will use the dollar sign to fix my table reference, so the next time I use autofill, my table is not updated. Table reference is not updated. So I'll get the correct answers now. So the lookup function by itself is rarely used nowadays. It's an old function, and all the work that a lookup function can do can be achieved using VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP.